Well, good day, everybody listening here in Grand Bahama, around the Bahamas, and the world. My name is NEVAR Smith, and I am the founder and owner of Clearview Tours, which is a ground transportation and tour company based in Freeport, Grand Bahama. I also serve as a director of the Grand Bahama Chamber of Commerce and chairman of the Small Business Development Committee. As a committee, we, right out of the gate, thought it would be useful to create a podcast that is called Talk Your Business. Yes, Talk Your Business. And we wanted to create a platform that would highlight and feature entrepreneurs, small business owners from all across Grand Bahama Island. You're talking about from West End to East End. We would like to have fruitful and insightful conversations with these entrepreneurs so that we could help the listening audience get a better understanding of what the full and true picture is about of being an entrepreneur in this world, but more specifically in Freeport, Grand Bahama. It's going to be a fun show. We're going to have down to earth, honest conversations about everything, the highs, the lows. We know there's a lot of pain and agony in entrepreneurship, but there's also a lot of glory. There's a success story in all of us waiting, and we want to bring that out. And so this is our inaugural podcast right here of Talk Your Business. I'm going to be serving as a co-host as well, along with a special lady who you'll hear from in a minute. But this is really a special day. I want you to tune in as we go forward. Join us on this journey. It's going to be an amazing ride as we bring out the best in one another and do our thing to create a support system and a community where we can help one another. And so that's what I love to say for now. But we have a special guest in the place as well. But before we introduce him, I will turn it over to my co-host.
That's right. I mean, I'm going to stand on everything that was said already by Mr. Navar Smith here. And my name is SASHA PINDER. I am the CEO and marketing manager at Be My Guest Marketing Agency, the number one marketing agency in the Bahamas and very shortly the world. And I am joining Navar and our beautiful guest, along with another beautiful guest, along with another beautiful guest, as we embark on this journey with you guys. So I'm so excited to be a part of this podcast. I'm excited to see what we're going to uncover. And it's not going to be like the average podcast. We're going to get down, we're going to get dirty, and we want to learn about the real, true side, the honest trials and tribulations, and how we overcome them as entrepreneurs, especially here in Grand Bahama. So I look forward to this exciting show and all the things that we're going to learn, the people that we're going to meet, and the impact that we're going to have. And we cannot forget that the Chamber of Commerce is here, and it is all about connecting the entrepreneurs by way of networking, sharing all of our trials, tribulations, and more so, and most importantly, collaborating. One thing about the Chamber of Commerce that I like is all of us are entrepreneurs. We sign up, we become a part of this club that people seem to think is so elite, but it's not. It's very open, it's welcoming, and it's exciting to say the least. So come on this ride, and if you're an entrepreneur or an aspiring entrepreneur out there and you're thinking about joining the Chamber of Commerce, we're here to tell you, come on down, let's go. And it is more than exciting of who we have here today as our first guest for this inaugural show. And I'm going to pass the baton back to Navar, so he's going to tell us exactly who is here with us today.
Well, with pleasure. And I can tell you, as a member of the Chamber of Commerce, it's been one of the best moves I've made ever since starting my business. And through this podcast, we're going to help everybody to get a better understanding of the Chamber and the benefits of joining, and it's going to be incredible in that sense. And so this is an initiative that's powered by the Grand Bahama Chamber of Commerce. And so we figured, coming right out, the inaugural show should feature the current president of the GB Chamber. He is no stranger to the community of Grand Bahama and the Bahamas. He is none other than President James Carey, serving in his third consecutive term, one of the longest serving in recent times. And so we're going to hear from him at this time and see what it's all about. So, President Kerry, so nice to have you here today. Thank you for taking some time to kickstart this groundbreaking and game changing initiative coming from the Chamber. We want to start off by asking you, who is James Carey in a nutshell?
Uh, First of all, NEVAR, SASHA, thank you so much for having me. It's great being here. This is looks like it's going to be a fun interview, so I'm looking forward to that. I also wish to compliment the Small Business Development Committee on this initiative. We've never done this before, and really, the fact that you're doing this speaks volumes about the Chamber, but also about the young people in the Chamber, the young people in our community, and their spirit to be entrepreneurs. And this is how it all starts. It starts with an idea, and this is an idea, in this case, to boost the Chamber. So, great. So, let's get started, James Carey. So the whole show is going to be about me. Okay. Well, I'm not as young as you guys, but I still am very young at heart. I'm a retired insurance executive, which sort of dates me a little bit. I've had a great career in insurance, and I got to that point where I happily walked away. But it's something I can identify with because it was in 1980 that my boss had been hired for about a month, came and said, guess what? We've been approved to do business in Grand Bahama, and you're going to be the guy on the spot. I was the ripe old age of 24 years at the time. So small business, entrepreneurs, young people, I can identify with that, and I think it's a great thing. And I have a lot of confidence and spirit in the enthusiasm of young people and their venturing out into business and making it happen. Apart from that, my story is sort of moot. I happily retired, and I was doing my own thing, and the then second vice president of the Chamber, Dennis Knowles, who unfortunately has left us for places unknown. He got on my case about coming into the Chamber. I was previously in the Chamber maybe about 25, 30 years ago, and things changed a bit since then. Dennis promised me he will be there to hold my hand. Because we'd worked together in Rotary for many years together, so we knew each other. And well, that didn't work out as planned. Dennis then left me, and I came into the Chamber. The great thing about coming into the Chamber was the administrative staff who were there. Mercent, Ferguson, and Katushka McIntosh. Oh, what a resource. But I came in, and my first question was, tell me, what is the relevance of the Chamber? Because I didn't know. I hadn't been following the Chamber. I didn't really know what it did anymore. Dennis wasn't there to hold my hand. But I soon learned that the Chamber has a tremendous value to the community, and I got my legs about me, and the journey began. NEVAR, thank you for the compliment of my third and final year of service, because I time out after this year. The Chamber's rules don't permit me to go any further, but I've had 3 unopposed years. Now that's good, because it could mean that everyone was afraid to oppose me, or that it could have been the other thing. Nobody was as dumb as I was to take the job, but nevertheless, it's been a great ride. I've enjoyed it up to this point, and for the next 7 months or so, I'm really looking forward to completing my term.
I'm so happy that you mentioned that it is your third term, but you also mentioned that it was your final term because of the Chamber's rules. It doesn't sound like we would have been without you for a 4th term if it was possible. So I want to ask, what keeps you at the head of the chamber? Why are you so invested in the Chamber of Commerce?
It's not just the chamber, because I'm anytime anything I put my mind and heart to, I'm in it. I don't believe in doing anything halfway, partially. If I can't do it 100%, I'm not going to touch it. And I agreed to come into the chamber, and I got the enthusiasm uh, from Merchant particularly, and it's been a great ride, a great experience. I go in the chamber uh, usually 3 days a week, except when otherwise required. Um, and you know, the mornings I go in, and it's great. The most important thing in the day for me in going into the chamber's office is to make those two ladies laugh. Uh, that's my first job of the day. And no matter what's happening, no matter what I'm feeling, uh, no matter what's been going on, my first job is to make them laugh. And once I get over that step, it's a good day for me.
For sure, because because when you're dealing with business and trying to make it work, we know it isn't easy and it can be very stressful. So having a sense of humor and understanding the importance of laughing and not taking yourself so serious is really important to the mix of being successful in business. And so with that being said, after serving for almost 3 years, making you one of the longest in recent times, what are you most proud of in terms of your stewardship? What do you think people are going to look back and say, because of James Carey, X, Y, and Z, and all of that kind of stuff?
Well, Sasha said it, I'm vested. I'm in it, and everybody knows that I'm in it. I'm not playing with it. And I think the opportunity to bring more prominence to the chamber in terms of knowledge that we exist, that we are trying to do things, that we're trying to do them in a very open and honest fashion. I think that's really the high spot for me. It's the community recognition that the Grand Bahama Chamber of Commerce actually exists and it does have a value and it's doing something. That's everything.
People would say, what is it? What even is the Chamber of Commerce? Why should I get involved? What would you say to an entrepreneur to get them to get involved in the Chamber of Commerce?
Look, the chamber is all about business in the first instance, but we're not limited to business. It's a place where you can relate, where you can make connections, or you can talk to persons who are doing things similar to you, or just the concept of doing business. It's an opportunity to mingle. It's an opportunity to share your views, to participate, to become all that you ever wanted to be in terms of developing where you want to go. The chamber is about community because one of the things I figured was that how the heck can we have business if we don't have community? So I had to put this little twist in the chamber that we have to focus on our community as well because without them, where will our businesses be? They'll be non-existent. And my tenure served began shortly after the COVID epidemic. So we were in recovery initially from Dorian and then COVID. So I had the awesome task of trying to bring some more attention to the chamber because during the period of hurricane and COVID, the chamber lost a lot of its members, et cetera, et cetera. And I must pause and give credit to my predecessor, Greg LaRota, and his board, because they held the chamber steady during that time. It continued to exist. They continued to participate and do things, and they did some studies which were useful. And then we had to come to this point and look to encourage membership in our chamber. And our chamber membership continues to grow. Which is testament, I suppose, to the fact that we are doing something, that there is some relevance that has come about, and it's great to be a part of an organization that is transparent, that is there, it's willing to help, and to promote business. I walked into the bakery just today, and I was greeted with, doggone it, I was just calling you a name, Mr. Carey. because I was reading your story in The Guardian today, and he says, I said, well, great, it's good to be noticed and seen. And he says, but, you know, I watch you on TV all the time. And I said, listen, we're just trying, and we're going to keep trying to uplift Grand Bahama and the businesses in Grand Bahama. And that's the only thing that I'm about.
And that's so good to hear, because one of the core objectives of this podcast is to make the chamber more relevant, but especially with the younger generation and the next generation of business leaders and entrepreneurs coming up in Grand Bahama, to help us make a greater connection, and so that they can understand this is an organization here for all and sundry who are serious about doing business, who want to be successful, and most importantly, pay it forward and help others to be successful as well.
Exactly.
And that's what I hope can come out of this podcast, as we talk to people like yourself, of all ages and stages of life. And that leads me to my next question. We know you're an entrepreneur, you're a business owner as well, in addition to being the president of the chamber. We know that to be a successful entrepreneur anywhere in the world, especially in Freeport, Grand Bahama, you know things. You got
Different, you know, things different.
Things are different.
Yeah,
you got
things
to
different.
Don't say that.
Yeah.
You can't be all that different.
you almost got to be a superhero in a way to make it happen. But some of us have figured out how to do that, and we've had a mixed bag of success and experiences. But in your view, what does it take to be a successful entrepreneur based on your experiences, not only in Freeport but just generally speaking?
That's a really good question, and you mentioned the fact that I'm an entrepreneur as well. I have my own small business. You know, I said I retired, and I only went into this business after retirement, and it wasn't for something to do. It was because I was preaching a certain message in the chamber, and you know, it's like I guess someone who is a marriage counselor who's never been married. You know, I needed my business. I needed to go through the pains of this process so that I'm now vested in what I'm saying and what I'm speaking to. And the important factors in a business is, you know, if you can use somebody else's money to get that business going, but you have to be totally vested. You have to be totally committed to the process of that business. The one area that we fail in, and I've spoken to it a fair bit, is the level of service that we deliver in a lot of business houses in Grand Bahama. And I've had some criticism for some harsh comments I've made, but I stick to those comments. Service is key. We have a long way to go in delivery of service. Not everywhere, but so many places the service, for want of a better word, it sucks. And we have to up our game. We have to deliver this service, and not just to the visitors who come to our shores, but to everyone who comes in our doors. We don't know how to sell ourselves, to sell our businesses. You know, we're about a paycheck, it seems, more than knowing how to earn more. So the message is, when we go into business, we have to make sure all the T's are crossed, the I's dotted. We get the right staff, we go through the training process, embrace technology, always be prepared to give back, take every opportunity to be visible, and yes, use this wonderful world of social media to promote our businesses, and that will take us to another level. But, you know, in doing that, what we say and people hear about us, we have to deliver it, because we only have one opportunity to make a first real impression. And that's, you know, and some of us fail at that too often, and some of us fail to stick with it. But I'm so impressed with the numbers of businesses that are opening in Grand Bahama today, small businesses. And I view them as collectively as a huge business, because traditionally we've always looked at the big guys. And recently we saw one of the big guys go under, unfortunately, not a good thing. but when we put all of our small businesses in a pool, they add up to be a tremendously huge business. And that for me speaks volumes. And sometimes, one or two of those little businesses fall away for different reasons, but it doesn't impact the trend that we're experiencing right now. And it's great.
Mr. Carey, you took my question right from me. The next question would have been, what is something that you would want to see implemented in small businesses to create the ease of businesses so that we don't be small businesses for too long and one day we can be big businesses? And your number one thing is customer service.
Yes.
And then you mentioned something else that got me going as far as being excited about the number of small businesses that are opening. And every time I see a groundbreaking right down to a small business opening, I always say, I hope they remain open. We see so many businesses open, but they don't last as long. So I want to fuse both my questions and ask, we know the number one thing is customer service, but what is another thing that you think that small businesses could implement to not just be better businesses, but to extend their longevity, especially here in Grand Bahama?
What we've seen is that small businesses, they start with an idea, but unfortunately, insufficient time is spent in the planning for that business, and a lot of the small businesses start without any owner funding at all, and you need some money, and it's. One of the things that we don't do in this country too well is encourage our population to save, because the wealth of a nation is in the savings of its population.
They say the average don't even have $1,000 saved.
Exactly.
About 80% of the country.
Yes, and that's why some of our businesses fail, because we don't have anything to fall back on, and we're borrowing from Peter to pay Paul. And that puts us in a difficult situation. So we need some funds in that war chest just in case something does go wrong. Or sales don't meet the expectation initially, and that's not going to happen overnight. It does take some time. So we have to be able to sustain ourselves for a while. And in the interim, we got rent and utilities and sometimes salaries to pay. So.
Sure. Well, I just love these kind of conversations, especially when you get to sit down with people who are just filled, overflowing with wisdom, experiences, and knowledge to share. As we bring this segment of the show to a close, I want to ask you if you have just any final comments you want to leave us with in this historic major moment in the Chamber's life as we launch this podcast, which has really never been done like this in the community of Grand Bahama, focusing on uplifting small businesses. What would you like to leave us with?
But the chamber is here to stay, and I'm so proud of my chamber. There's an initiative underway that was started with the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce and Employers Confederation down in Nassau, where all the chambers in the Bahamas will likely come together in conclave in October. And that has never happened before. And all of our chambers are independent, by the way. But we'll come together and share ideas, share processes, et cetera, et cetera. One of the things that gives me pride about the Grand Bahama Chamber of Commerce is that during our conference call, we were sharing different information about our chambers. And in terms of membership, my chamber is the largest in the Bahamas. And I say nothing about the other chambers. But excuse me, the more important than that, and I don't know it for a fact, but in my heart I totally believe it, is that the quality of my membership is way above the rest, because I look with admiration at you, SASHA and NEVAR, and you are quality people, and you're an example of what we have in Grand Bahama. The example of the young entrepreneurs, the spirit of Grand Bahama is on the rise. And notwithstanding the differences between the Bahamas government and the Port Authority these days, that will go away. It has to go away. It can't last forever. And I hope for a good, happy solution on that. I believe that the government and the Port Authority, if they can find a way to work together for the good of Grand Bahama, and it's not for the good of the owners of the Port Authority or good for the coffers of the government or the political directive of the government. We say the people, that is our primary concern. That is what we're working for. And if that is what we're working for, then let's come together and let's work for the people. Let's see the wealth of our people, the opportunities for our people grow. And I believe that is what will create more small businesses, more entrepreneurs. It will increase our critical mass, which is something we're lacking. We need people because people they impact the economy, etc. The revenue is driven to the coffers of the government because of the spendings and taxations and the rest of it, and the Port Authority is happier because they're getting licenses. So why can't we work together?
Right, it's a cycle.
Yes.
Hamster wheel,
Yes.
if you will.
Sure.
Right.
Well, this was awesome. You want to add anything?
I guess I can. No, I don't know. Nothing to add. I guess I could close us out and take
Yeah.
us home,
Yeah,
if I
of
may.
course.
We want to thank you so much, Mr. President James Carey, for your presence here today on this inaugural show. I mean, it's only fitting. It's powered by the Chamber of Commerce. It's sponsored by some very important small businesses. A big shout out to the Fitness Connection and Be My Guest
There you go.
Agency, our major sponsors here, so that Talk Your Business can happen again. NEVAR and Clairview Tours. Clairview Tours. I mean, we all came together to ensure that, these kinds of messages can get out to the entrepreneurs and the aspiring entrepreneurs. And we just wanted to thank you so much for your time here today.
And
we
tell me
hope to talk
that
soon.
Talk Your Business is here to stay.
Okay. And Talk Your Business is here to stay.
Yes, and that's the goal. We want to plant the seed, but throughout whomever is the president and whomever sits around the board, we expect the show to keep going forward well into the future.
Yes, and you got my support, and anytime you need me to come and sit in, I'd be more than happy to.
We'll take you up.
Bring
on
the
that.
whiskey.
And a cigar.
Are you a whiskey drinker, Mr. Carey?
Indeed.
Yeah, look, I like Mr. Carey. Y'all bring Mr. Carey and bring the whiskey. And y'all make sure like, share, subscribe. What else we can do? What all we can do? Y'all make sure spread the word because Talk Your Business is here to stay.
Great stuff.
100%.
Thank you, too.